Good afternoon. My name is Steve Mincy. I'm with DES, Architects and Engineers, right here in Redwood City. And I am this year's chair of the Board of Directors of the San Mateo Economic Development Association, SAMCEDA. So welcome, everyone. On behalf of our organization and our board of directors, our CEO and president, Roseanne Faust, it's my pleasure to welcome you to today's event, the Innovators event, which is SAMCEDA's 2013 Awards of Excellence. Now, this is honoring San Mateo businesses for their entrepreneurship and innovation. And this event is all about shining a bright light on great things happening right here in the county. And we have some distinguished group of award recipients for you today. We want to introduce you to these folks. I think you're going to get a kick out of what's going on right here. Some of you may be familiar with these companies. Others of us get introduced to them at an event like this every year. So we also have with us Barry Jolette, who is this year's recipient of the David D. Bohannon Memorial Award. Barry? And there could be no better keynote speaker for an event like this than Tim Draper. He is the founder and managing partner of Draper, Fisher, Jurvetson, whose name is synonymous with innovation and entrepreneurship. So, welcome, Mr. Draper. Now, before we begin, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank SAMCEDA's Platinum Chairman Circle members. These are companies who not only contribute at the highest level to SAMCEDA, but who consistently step up and support our organization in a variety of ways throughout the year, including this event. They are BKF Engineers, Bank of America, Bay Meadows Land Company, Bohannon Development, Hillsdale Shopping Center, County of San Mateo, Equity Office, Lucille Packard Children's Hospital at Stanford, Oracle, PG&E, San Francisco International Airport, Samtrans Caltrain, Sequoia Hospital, a Dignity Health member, Walmart, and Wells Fargo. Also, a number of corporations have stepped up to sponsor today's event. They are Cargill, Colliers, DES Architects and Engineers, Genentech, Hanson Bridget, Hartnett Smith Pateco, Kaiser Permanente, Provident Credit Union, San Mateo Credit Union, Recology, San Mateo County, Summerhill Housing Group, Sutter Health, and W.L. Butler. And then thanks also to our media sponsor, the San Francisco Business Times. Now, I wanted to point out that today's event is being filmed by Penn TV, Channel 26. And so if you've got big hair and you're in the back and you're walking in front of the cameras, don't do that. SAMCEDA is made up of a number of companies that represent just all the diverse businesses here in San Mateo County. And our board of directors is drawn from those companies. And so, without reading all of these names, I did want to have you acknowledge them. So let's have all of our board of directors please stand and be recognized. So additionally, let's see if I just skipped over. I did. I went zipping through this. Additionally, from our board of directors, we have a great executive team that I have the pleasure of working with all year long, and very hardworking folks. Bob Webster, Paul Casillas, Joanne Camist, John Adams, and Todd Adair. So another round of applause for those folks. So one of the hallmarks of SAMCEDA, and it's even right here in the the statement as we like to put it out there for what SAMCEDA is all about. One of the hallmarks is working in partnership with government elected officials, and actually I think that's probably something that we could say is a hallmark of this entire area. I think that there is a keen awareness of how business being successful brings to this area a certain quality of life, and I think there's an acknowledgement of that. And to maintain that success, I think it's really important for us to work closely with our elected officials to navigate and also improve some of the challenges that we face here. So let's recognize the following elected officials who are here with us today. Alicia Aguirre with the City of Redwood City. Alicia is actually the mayor of the City of Redwood City. David Canepa, City of Daly City. Pam Frisella, mayor of City of Foster City. Rich Garbarino, the City of South San Francisco. Pedro Gonzalez, Mayor, City of South San Francisco. Bob Gracilli, Mayor of the City of San Carlos. Don Horsley, the President of the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors. Jeff Ira, City of Redwood City. Kirsten Keith, City of Menlo Park. Robert Ross, City of San Mateo. Warren Slocum, San Mateo County Board of Supervisors. Welcome, congratulations. And of course, our own Roseanne Faust with the City of Redwood City. Now, is there anyone I missed? If so, could you, who did I miss over here? Welcome, Supervisor Tissier. Really, I want to thank all of you that are in those elected positions for coming out here and sharing this event with us today. I think it gives additional insight into everything that we're trying to accomplish here in the county. So in addition to those folks being here, we also have for today's award recipients some wonderful certificates of recognition, some proclamations, and so I want to thank the following folks for providing those. Congresswomen Anna Eshoo and Jackie Spear, State Senators Jerry Hill and Leland Yee, Assembly Members Rich Gordon, Kevin Mullen, and Phil Ting, and then San Mateo County Board of Supervisors President Don Horsley and his colleagues. So thank you again for providing the recognition for our award recipients today. In addition, we have a letter from Senator Dianne Feinstein that she would like read at today's event. Dear friends, it is a great pleasure for me to have this opportunity to extend my warmest greetings and warm welcome to all the distinguished and honored guests who are attending the Innovators 2013 Awards of Excellence luncheon sponsored by SAMCEDA. I am very sorry that my Senate schedule does not permit me to be with you on this very special occasion. Please allow me to thank SAMCEDA for the excellent work that has benefited the entire community and is a shining example of leadership, commitment, and goodwill. This award celebration honors and salutes San Mateo County companies that embody the spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation. These companies benefit the county, cities, and the region, as well as the country, and contribute to the long-term economic prosperity of the community. It is an honor for me to congratulate each of this year's award winners, which she then lists and wraps up with, as a United States Senator representing the people of California, I commend all of you for your efforts and achievements. Congratulations on your much-deserved awards, and best wishes for continued success and happiness in years to come. Sincerely, Dianne Feinstein, United States Senator. So, with that, Let's get on with the program here. Can't follow that with anything other than moving forward here. We have some wonderful things to share with you today, and it is now my pleasure to introduce our President and Chief Executive Officer of SAMCEDA, an executive who makes a point to stay current on just about everything here in the county, if not the entire Bay Area, and an executive who works so hard and gets so much done, you could swear she has a staff of 20, but an audit revealed it's only 1.5. It's leveraging your membership dollars. Please welcome Roseanne Faust.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is such an honor and a pleasure to be here with all of you today. And I want to thank Steve Mincy because, frankly, no organization is really all that good if you don't have a chair who leads a board of directors like we have. And I feel so fortunate and lucky that Steve has led SAMCEDA for the last 3 years. We're still trying to talk him into a 4th year, so if anyone can push him a little bit, we'd appreciate that. But let's give Steve and our board a real warm round of applause. This, for me, and I think our community in San Mateo County, the businesses that are here, the elected officials, our partners in the nonprofit world, our educators, this is a signature event for our county. This is one where we celebrate innovation and entrepreneurship, and we get excited about the companies that you're reading about in your program today. And to have Tim Draper here as our keynote, there is no one that I can think of in this area where you don't think innovation and entrepreneurship in the same sentence as Tim Draper. But I want to tell you a little bit about SAMCEDA and who we are. In the previous screen, you saw that our organization was started in 1953. 60 years ago, the forefathers of business and economic development in this county saw fit to bring together the business leaders, the elected officials, our other stakeholders, and to really talk about what makes this county unique and how do we keep that economic prosperity going. 60 years later, that message that business is good and business brings opportunity still resonates. And it reminds me, last week I was in Washington. I had the opportunity to join one of our partners, the Silicon Valley Leadership Group. Mike Milkey is here representing SVLG today in DC. It was a fantastic trip. And we met with our legislators from the Senate and the House side, and we talked about the entrepreneurship and the innovation that happens here in Silicon Valley, the importance of immigration reform, the importance of corporate tax reform, the importance of cybersecurity and what's going to happen. But it also brought me back, as I was on the plane, I had the opportunity to hear Tom Friedman speak not that long ago. And you can agree with what Tom Friedman says, you can agree with his version of economics, or not, but what I think we can all agree with is he wrote a book a few years ago. It Used to Be Us. And if you read that book and you think about its message, there is one particular paragraph in there that our 7 innovator companies will really highlight today. The chapter that Tom cites in many different speeches that he gives is the one called "They Didn't Get the Message." And if you think about that, they didn't get the message. We hear, you flip on Fox or CNN or CNBC or any of the news shows, you open the magazine and China's beating us and Germany's doing better than us and South America is coming up. But what we have here in Silicon Valley is very unique. And what we have here in San Mateo County is very unique. They didn't get the message. They are out there creating companies. They are thinking about things that we don't even consider today in this environment. They are thinking 10 and 15 years ahead. And it is a testament to who this county is, the forefathers, the current leaders, and the future of San Mateo County. And it is such an incredibly exciting place for all of us to be and to join together today as SAMCEDA salutes innovation and entrepreneurship and follows with what Tom Friedman talked about, they didn't get the message. And you know what? That's okay, because we can lead and we can change the world. And I think we've heard that from folks in this area before. What I want to do right now is move to, and there's another part of Tom Friedman's comments that I'll weave in when we introduce our Innovation Award winners later. And it talks about we all need that something extra. San Mateo County has that something extra. We do, it's here, and it's going to continue. So think about what your extra is. Think about what you contribute to your company and your environment. And think about the companies as they come up here. This is our time to celebrate and thank them. But for me right now, it's an honor and a pleasure actually to introduce, and I'm going to bring up his picture so you can see him, Tim Draper. This was so exciting to hear that Tim was that he agreed to be the keynote today. He has had so much impact in the Bay Area, on the peninsula, in San Mateo County. And what I did was, you can read his bio that's in your program. But I went online, some of you know I really like to Google folks, and I Googled Tim. There's hundreds and hundreds of pages of information, but I found one that I thought really fit, and it comes from the Dish Daily. And it talks about, on the line, Tim Draper, the unconventional venture capitalist. So the Dish Daily obviously is affiliated with Stanford University, and it talked about, just a month ago, Tim bounding onto the NVIDIA auditorium stage at Stanford University to be a part of a lecture series there. And it talked about him focusing on his connection with entrepreneurs and his ask of them to break down the walls, break down the barriers, think about the future and think about what is coming next. He has spent so much time all over the world, and he goes on and he talks about the breakthroughs that occurred in the last 50 years. We can't even imagine what's possible in the next 15 years. One of his newest projects is the University of Heroes, Draper University in San Mateo. And we have folks from the San Mateo Area Chamber, Linda Asbury, Cheryl Angeles, we have Alan Talansky. These people have all been very active in getting the University of Heroes and Draper University to San Mateo County. And we are grateful for that, because that is where, well, maybe some of us want to think about it. I don't know if we're in the age demographic, but maybe we can tweak it a little bit. And go and be a part of that cutting edge university where the new entrepreneurs are going to come and create products that we don't even know we want today. So it is my honor and pleasure to bring up Tim Draper and for him to share his thoughts. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Can you hear me? I'm going to hide behind this thing. After that really kind introduction, it's a little embarrassing to come up here and say, well, we've scrapped the idea of the school and we're going to build a mausoleum across the street and where the collective is, and then probably turn the Ben Franklin into a brothel. But you know, I think San Mateo went for the school. You think they'll go for that? April Fools, right? So I'm gonna skip this, but this is you got some splaining to do, and I'll go through that in a bit. This is Draper University of Heroes. We are incredibly excited about this. I've dedicated my whole life to spreading entrepreneurship and venture capital around the world. And now that they all seem to have venture capital and entrepreneurship, I am hoping to have San Mateo be a beacon for all those great entrepreneurs all over the world. And we hope to make Draper University of Heroes that one place that everyone in the world who has any kind of an inkling of starting a business will go. And we want to encourage them, give them a little shove that gets them over the top. Since you guys or a lot of you are in the construction industry, I thought I'd share something with you. When I bought this hotel, I just bought it because I thought I was expecting inflation because the government was spending so much money, and it was cheap. And I thought, oh, this will be great. I'll have a hotel. And then I found out that they had sort of absconded with all the parking around the hotel, and so I had to figure out what to do with a big building that housed people with no parking. And so I brainstormed with my family, and my son came up with the idea of a school. And all of a sudden, all these things fell into line for me. It was just the right time and the right place, and I thought, oh, wow. Well, first, yeah, let's start a school, but then what do we know about schools? We don't know anything about schools. And I said, but I do know that I went through school, and there was something missing. And it is that spirit of entrepreneurship. It is that spirit of trying and trying and trying and failing and trying, getting back up and trying again. And that's been the spirit that's helped build the Silicon Valley. But we don't really have any schooling that provides that. It's this, and we call it heroes or superheroes, where we try to generate this creativity inside of those students and get them to really think that the world is there to be changed, to be built, to be to shake the place up. And so you can get a little bit of a flavor of what we do. Can you guys all read that? Sort of. Okay, well, what I thought we'd do is at least get the table from Draper. Why don't everybody get up, and we're going to say, this is the superhero oath of Draper University. So you get an idea of what these people are doing. And if you can't read it, just kind of mouth the words. Okay, everybody stand up. This is what we do every morning at Draper University. I will promote freedom at all costs. I will do everything in my power to drive, build, and pursue progress and change. My brand, my network, and my reputation are paramount. I will set positive examples for others to emulate. I will instill good habits in myself. I will take care of myself. I will fail and fail again until I succeed. I will explore the world with gusto and enthusiasm. I will treat people well. I will make short-term sacrifices for long-term success. I will pursue fairness, openness, health, and fun with all that I encounter, mostly fun, followed by a little dance. I will keep my word. I will try my best to make reparations for my digressions. And we don't have to go through the extra clauses, but they're more of this good feeling thing. So you get the idea. You can all sit down now. Thank you. You get the idea that that I'm looking to take just ordinary people and turn them into superheroes, and it's really fun, and it's really great, and they might be straight A students from Stanford, or they might be D students who just have this incredible idea and this incredible drive, and they didn't quite fit into the program, like these guys. And this is what we look for, and the spirit of superheroes gets people thinking about what's possible. Heroes are a little bit history, and superheroes are future, and we try to encourage future. Okay, this is the intermission. I call it a pre-roll. I just sell things. This is my dad's book. It's called The Startup Game, and it's about the entrepreneur and the venture capitalist and how the two of them get along. It's a terrific book. Watch this show. This is my daughter's show. It's called The Valley Girl, and she interviews entrepreneurs in a very fun way, gets them to dance and sing and do silly things. I don't know where she gets that, but and this is my son's incubator called Boost Funder, which is going to work sort of in parallel with Draper University. And so I encourage you to get your entrepreneur friends to apply to Boost. And this is DFJ. We're a big venture firm, kind of spent our time building venture capitalists and entrepreneurs around the world. Okay, that's it for the ads. So first we're going to start with some definitions, and this will be kind of fun. We'll start with Scott here. Scott, stand up and give high fives to as many people as you possibly can. As soon as you've gotten a high five, stand up and start giving high fives to the people all around you. Okay, ready? Go. See if you can do it in 18 seconds. Okay. You better hit another table. It's great. We got a maven over there. There's still some Pakistanis in the back that don't have it. Okay, we did it. Okay, you can sit back down. Okay, I'm just trying to describe these 4 new marketing techniques. That's viral marketing. The idea is that if you like a product, a customer becomes a salesman for a product, salesman or woman for a product, and it can spread extraordinarily quickly. Okay, social marketing was because everyone started to do viral marketing, and it became spam, and people were getting messages that they didn't want. And social marketing would mean just you as a group. You'd be sort of one group, and you'd be another group, you'd be another group. And it was a way for all of us to sort of control the messages that we were getting. Can somebody give me a ride to the airport? Okay, there are 2 rides right there. That is called crowdsourcing. You go out to the crowd and you see the most efficient, you look for the most efficient way to get a service provided. Or from the business's point of view, it goes the other way. And then who here would give $1 to cure lung cancer? Okay, everybody but you. That is crowdfunding, and that is getting all sorts of interesting projects started. And I'll get into some of those if we do have time. I'm going to try to whip through this. Okay, we started out thinking globally in venture capital because I remember Silicon Valley when we were riding our little bikes around and it was apricot groves and there was nothing else, and all of a sudden it became this great thing. So we started to look at the opportunities globally, global warming, global finance, global communications, global health. And I started to think globally, and part of it happened because I met these 2 guys who did web-based email. And one guy was Indian, and they said, okay, we've figured out how to do web-based email, and we've decided to give it away for free. And as an investor, you're thinking, you're going to give it away for free? But we said, okay, and that's great. And how are you going to market this? Well, we're going to do TV ads and billboards and whatever. And I said, I'm not so sure we have the budget for all of that. And so, necessity being the mother of invention, I said, what if you just get it out to all those people that are on this web thing? And they said, oh boy, that's called spamming. We don't want to have anything to do with it. And I said, wait, what if you just put a little message at the bottom of everybody's email that says, And then I came up with this. P.S. I love you. Get your free email at Hotmail. And they looked at me like I was, of all the investors in the world, why did we end up with this one? So, but I kept pounding and pounding and pounding, and finally they said, okay, but no P.S. I love you. Just get your free email at Hotmail. And I said, oh, okay. But to this day, I think we would have had a much more loving and peaceful world. Anyway, so Hotmail spread to 11 million users in 18 months, and the founder sent one email to his friend in India. And within 3 weeks, we had 100,000 registered Hotmail users in India. And at that point, I thought, wow, this just changed everything. Because I had worked at HP in international, and I knew how hard it was to do international business at that time. And suddenly, it was just like the click of a button. And so Hotmail really did spread all over the world, and geographic borders started to fall, and communication started to expand, and bad governance started to fall, and good governance started to thrive, and business really took off. All sorts of business, cross-border business took off. Incidentally, in India, my partner in India, when I went there, he said, Tim, are you ready to cross the street? And I go, okay. You know, there's a cow coming this way, and a guy in a rickshaw, and a motorcycle zipping by, and a car coming through, and a baby crawling across the street. And I said, I guess so. And I got about halfway across, and I saw an opening, and I sprinted to the other side of the street. And he said, no! And I said, what? I got across. And he said, no sudden movements. So everybody in India is doing partial differential calculus every time they cross the street. And it's not a surprise to me that all that great software comes out of India. This was another interesting trip. My friend Tony Perkins was here, and he was putting together a big conference, and I had committed to talk at his conference. And the same day, Skype was going to have their first board meeting in Estonia, and I didn't want to miss that. So I went to Tony and I said, look, I really want to go to this thing. Can we do it by video conference? Do your thing by video conference. And he said, yeah, that's okay. Maybe you can get that guy, Nicholas Zenstrom, to sit with you, and we do a Q&A kind of thing on the big video. And at that time, video conferencing was like this. But now, and so we were really taking a big risk. And I went to Nicholas, and he said, yeah. And actually, we've been working on something back in the lab. At that time, Skype was all audio, and there were about 100,000 simultaneous users of Skype at that time. And so I went, and we were ready to go in Estonia, and Nicholas said, okay, throw the switch. And I thought, switch? And he goes, yeah, it's no problem. And then we had our video conference, and it went off without a hitch. It was fantastic. And Tony said, I can't believe how clear you are, and everything was just great. And I said, well, that was great, Nicholas. What did you do? He said, well, we cut off about 100,000 simultaneous telephone conversations so that we could get the bandwidth, so that we could have the... So entrepreneurs do amazing things to make things happen, and we should all respect them for that. Now I'll take you into China. My dad was the head of the UNDP, and he brought me to China about 30 years ago. And at that time, we flew in. We took the only car on the only paved road to the only international hotel, and everybody was taking these, selling fruits or vegetables in these baskets and riding bikes, and that was China to me. And then about 15 years later, somebody came to me and he said, hey, I just sold $90 million worth of chocolate in China. I built a business, $90 million business in China. And I said, that's fantastic. And he said, no, it got nationalized. And I thought, ooh, that's too bad. And then a little later, I had an opportunity to go to China, and I thought, well, I might as well go and see what this is all about. And we went from Shanghai to Hangzhou, and all the houses were these 2-story concrete tilt-ups. And then every once in a while, I'd see one with blue windows. I'd say, oh, that's interesting, blue windows. And I thought, wow, that blue window salesman is going to make a fortune, because there were a lot of empty houses. And the second thought I had was, oh, well, that chocolate guy was a problem. I mean, said there was nationalizing companies, but it may be worth it. People are going to want a new refrigerator, and then they're going to want a new cell phone, then they're going to want software, and they're going to want whatever. And, and they're going to keep up with the Joneses, and there are a lot of them. And so I went and I talked with one of the big ministers of China, and he said, you must invest in our country. And I said, I'm not going to invest in your country. And he said, why not? He said, I told him that this chocolate company got nationalized. And he said, well, what would you recommend? And I said, I would recommend that anybody who invests in China, you should make sure that they make a lot of money so that they come back and they tell all their friends, and all their friends will then come and invest more money than you ever imagined in your country. And he thought about it, and there was some translation problem, and I don't know exactly what came of that, but he did. And fortunately, we went back after making a few investments in companies that had good government connections, and we lost all our money in those. We invested in some of these young tigers who started Baidu, which is the Google for China, and Focus Media, which is the Clear Channel, and a number of other great companies. And we're very pleased with our experience in China and continue to be. Now, I take you to Singapore. They were very instrumental in us getting started. But I take you here because look at that beautiful skyline. My daughter came there and she said, wow, looks like the Jetsons. And they have all these on-ramps, off-ramps, and it really is amazing and a spectacular city. And the government there is #1 for business in the entire world. Singapore is #1. It used to be the US, now it's Singapore. And then my daughter came back and looked at San Francisco, and she thought, interesting. It's kind of falling apart, huh? And then she, of course, went to New York, and she said, oh, this place is totally falling apart. And it made me think that, it's nice to see some good government officials here, because you guys can make a difference here and make all of our lives a lot better, and just by kind of letting business do its thing. And this is just the opposite. Russia is just the opposite. They had the Bolsheviks come in and they said, the rich are bad, we're going to take everything from them. Sounds a little like the US today, but and we're going to, and the Bolsheviks basically made business illegal for 75 years. And imagine now, there are some great entrepreneurs coming out of Russia, but imagine being an entrepreneur and having your parents and their parents and their parents all believe that business was bad, and you want to be a business person. It is really tough for them to overcome that. And so there's still plenty of problems, plenty of corruption, whatever in Russia. And we keep trying to get venture capital in there, but it is a real challenge. And so if we continue down that path, we're going to have a really long time trying to get it back up. Ukraine was very interesting too. I met with the president of Ukraine, Yushchenko, and he was the guy who led the Orange Revolution, and he did it with instant messaging. He would tell the girls, the pretty girls who were putting the roses in the guns, those girls would say, hey, we're running out of roses, and they'd use instant messaging to just keep 24/7, keep that pressure on the capital until eventually Ukraine fell and a better government came. He also said, come invest in our country. And I said, I'll never invest in your country. And he said, why? And I said, because it takes 6 months and 23 bureaucrats before I can even incorporate in this country. And he said, that will be 1 bureaucrat, 1 week. And wasn't it great because we made it so that you Americans can now come to Ukraine without a visa? And I said, yeah, that was great. Now, it hasn't happened in Ukraine, but he at least the message was there, and he was competing for the capital and the businesses and the great minds. And you start to see this, and you start to see governments starting to compete with each other, and a bad government like the Egyptian government and the Tunisian government getting overthrown by Facebook and Twitter. Very interesting seeing how this great communication tool that we've started through the internet is now encouraging good governments and overthrowing bad ones. Now this is a little bit my experience as a builder. Now I'm not as experienced as you guys are, but this is sort of what I got. I saw, no left turn, and I didn't quite know what that all meant. But this is where I say to SAMCEDA, you have a mission, guys. Make it happen. Here's what we got. I mean, for a renovation that's relatively modest, we've got $500,000 worth of permits. I had to pay $30,000 for some parking study. We had a 3-month delay. I'm sure you guys have experienced much longer delays than that. Concerns about what color the building would be, whether the curtains could be open or closed during certain hours of the day, how many feet of retail space we would be experiencing. Some of them wanted to make sure we kept Where's Waldo, which was painted on the side of the building. There was an elevator problem where they said, well, this was fine for 2007, but ADA has made it 7 inches wider now. And then we had an egress problem where the fire and safety guys said, you got to put another egress here. And we said, okay, we started to put the other egress there, and the Historic Society said, you can't have an egress there. I mean, you guys, you're kind of nodding, going, yeah. You haven't seen anything, Draper. But this was the first I saw of it. And this doesn't happen in Singapore. In Singapore, look, you're going to put in an entrepreneur university. What can we do for you? We will level these houses and give them apartments in these buildings. It's a very different feel. So this is competitive governance. Get used to it. And we are ahead, but we are behind in our thinking. The US is way ahead, but we're way behind in our thinking on how are we going to compete for the great minds and the capital and the businesses of the world. Interestingly, I'm going to give you a few kind of fun examples. The one up on top there is called Blue Seed. We've had so many problems with H-1B visas for bright engineers that these guys are going to put a boat 11 miles out that is not a part of the US and have those engineers take a little ferry in every day, and then they do their work, and then they go back out, and then they sleep in Blue Seed, this country. The one on the bottom is Sealand, and Sealand is off the coast of England somewhere, and that's a perfect, tax-free, tax haven place, and it's not yet recognized by the UN, but it's getting there, and kind of interesting. Bitcoin is another very interesting thing that's happening. People are losing faith in all the government's currencies, right? Well, this is a currency that was created by a hacker, and it's out there in the web, and people have bought houses for Bitcoin already. So this is kind of a new thing, very exciting, could be really fun. And of course, all those countries with bad governments have been overthrown by competitive governance. I'm going to whip through this, but the world is changing faster and faster. This says Moore's Law, this is Moore's Law, and it says that $1,000 worth of compute power doubles every 18 months. And now that's every 14 months. So it's almost every year that we have a new platform, twice as powerful, twice as cheap, twice as fast as it was the year before. And that means entrepreneurs will continue to innovate and try new things with all this new compute power that is happening. And then I thought, well, that's only happening in the computing space, right? No, it turns out a lot of the politicians that are talking about our energy crisis or whatever, they're kind of wrong, because the installed cost of electricity per kilowatt hour has continued to go down on a log scale. And so in 2020, we're going to have almost free electricity. And think of the innovation that can come around having that much electricity. So think of all the changes that have occurred recently, and think of all the changes that have happened in the last 150 years. That includes the light bulb, indoor plumbing, radio, automobile, television, airplanes, the pill, the bomb, microwave, semiconductors, satellites, photocopier, space travel, computers, email, fiber optics, biotech, cell phones, x-rays, internet, digital cameras, web browsers, search engines, smartphones. These things have really changed our world. But with Moore's law happening in all these industries, the next 15 years will give us the same amount of change as we've had in the last 150 years. So imagine what that could mean. That could mean desalinated water, near infinite energy supply, new life forms, near thought communications. I will give the rest of my presentation in this way. Food drop. I always thought, I was always hungry as a kid running around playing, and I never wanted to stop to eat. And I wish there was something that would just go, food drop. Anyway, cures for cancer, malaria, AIDS, non-invasive surgery. Non-invasive security would be great. By the way, that's a new technology. That was one of our companies that's called SafeView. And when you walk through the metal detector now, there's a guy behind the curtain that sees you completely naked. And when we funded that company, we were thinking of all different applications. And then 2 years after that, imagine what we could have. All those things in Star Trek could be ours. The transporter, the holodeck, the human rebalancing. And then I think of what we really do have now is need anticipation. I've seen companies that are testing you on a regular basis of, testing your blood, your pulse, your whatever. And imagine this, this test runs, and then it realizes that your blood glucose level is a little low, and a pizza is delivered to your house. And then human-animal communications. I think we can get there. I think that, okay, give me 17 years and we will be communicating with animals. Okay? I'm just going to make one quick story here about the Pebble. This was a watch that was created, and you can read your email on it, so you don't have to pull your cell phone out. It doesn't have to be so rude. You just kind of go, oh, yeah, interesting. And this company I funded, and it looked like it was going to go down the tubes. They were pretty much out of money, and they sent one great video out to Kickstarter, which is a crowdfunding company, and they got $5 million of free money and $5 million of pre-orders for the Pebble. And for a company that was almost out of money, to get $10 million from a short video was quite amazing. And so this new system is really changing. It's going to change our world. It's going to change the venture capitalist world. So digital global distribution is now commoditizing. So technological breakthroughs are spreading faster. We're going to have changes in venture capital. These are what we fund. We look for the people who shake up the world, look for different kinds of businesses. We look for clever business models where you like Amazon, where you don't have any accounts receivable or any inventory. The thing I'm going to mention here is that SpaceX came along, and it turns out that NASA, to launch a certain payload into space, a payload is how much stuff is in the rocket, it took 6,000 employees and about $1 billion to launch this thing into space. SpaceX can do that same thing with 35 employees and $40 million. So this is where government should really get out of the way and let the private sector perform. That is a major breakthrough in space travel, and eventually Elon Musk, who's the CEO, is going to get us all to Mars. And nobody believed he could compete with the rocket business. Nobody believed he could compete with the automobile industry. Nobody believed he could compete with the banks, but he started PayPal, then he started Tesla, now he started SpaceX. I believe we're going to Mars. And remember, wherever you go, whatever you do, entrepreneurs are heroes. They take long odds at extraordinary outcomes, and they do amazing things, and all of our lives are better for it. So with that, thank you very much for your patience and tolerance. Do I have time for a question? No. What's that?
I wish.
Okay. Thanks. No time for questions. I'm out of here.
Thank you very much.
There's really no need to go. We need to give another huge round of applause to Tim Draper. Honestly, I think his best slide, actually they were all good, but that last one, to thank the entrepreneurs who create the jobs, who create the excitement, who are out there working with us both in the business world and the government sector, really to make all of our lives better. I mean, that last slide, I think, sums up what we are hoping to do today by moving into our Innovator Awards presentation. And it gives me great pleasure today to look at these companies. They're in the audience, they're here, they're going to come up and share with you some of the things that they are most proud of. I'm going to start by asking our first award winner to come up, and I just received a message from GetJar. They are actually out creating 150,000 more apps. So Chris Dury, who is the president and CEO, apologizes. We're going to bring him his award. And Ilse is not actually in the country, so he couldn't be here today. So we are going to invite up Rocket Fuel and George John, who is their CEO, who is going to kick this off. And Rocket Fuel is our aspiring innovator today. So let's give a warm round of applause for George John.
I just got more attractive. All right, thank you. All right, well, it's a pleasure to follow, Tim. That was a really inspiring talk. At Rocket Fuel, now that you've just heard about SpaceX, sadly, I can't entertain you with stories of real rockets. It's a metaphorical name. Although our first landlord in Redwood City wasn't so sure. We started off in One Lagoon over by the lagoon. It's an aptly named street. And subleasing from UPS, and they put all these extra clauses in the lease agreement so that we weren't allowed to bring explosives on site. We do advertising with a lot of technology too. It's actually related to Tim's talk about trying to anticipate what someone might want. If you can get that right with advertising, you can save a lot of annoyance on the part of consumers, and you can actually really help companies accelerate their success by getting their message in front of the right people if they're not as inspired by a clever board member to do viral marketing as Hotmail was. Maybe they can come to us and we can help them out with some ads. Let's see, right button. So we do have kind of a rocket science-y heritage. I worked at NASA Ames, as did one of my co-founders, me on precursors to the Mars rover program and he on space shuttle controls. It's a challenging thing that comes in at 25 times the speed of sound, and keeping that thing aerodynamically stable as it slows down is not easy. But both of us, I don't know, there's something about advertising that's a little lovable and incorrigible, and both of us were drawn to help advertisers with technology. So we built Rocket Fuel, and what we do is we run digital campaigns for great brands. So whether it's a video ad, ahead of a YouTube video that you might watch, or banner ads, or ads inside Angry Birds, Facebook ads, our job is to help get these in front of the right people so that we can create the right results for advertisers. It's a challenging thing. It's an interesting evolution that probably you wouldn't know about unless you're really in the industry. But in the old days, if you had a company and you had a product and you wanted to get your message out there, you go to an agency and they'd think hard about your product and who might want it, and they'd call. Maybe they'd browse around the web, they'd call websites on the phone saying, hey, I really like the looks of your website, I think it'll be great for my taco copter to drop food on Tim when he gets hungry. Can you take my taco copter ad? By the way, that's a real website, but not a real company, Taco Copter. It's a spoof, but the idea is autonomous helicopters that will deliver tacos to you if you just press your cell phone button. In the old days, you'd have to call people on the phone, arrange all this stuff to get your ad on their site, and now really ad space is traded online. Much like stocks can be traded on NASDAQ. So there's about 30 billion times a day our servers across the world get poked saying, hey, would you like to get your message in front of this person right now on this site? So there's a lot of technology that goes on to make that happen. We used to be proud to tell you the exact number of people we had in different cities around the world, which sort of belies our evolution from a little company to a big company. Never mind, it's too hard to keep those numbers up to date. But we have about 400 people now around the world, all managed sort of from our headquarters here in Redwood City. Mostly kind of, we're out there because that's where the money is. Advertisers are spending their money through agencies across the world. A little bit of font troubles here, but the point was it's been a nice trajectory. So we founded in 2008, got our first seed funding in around May of 2008, and kind of been off to the races since then, and we did over 100 million in revenue last year. What you're missing from the sort of punchlines there with the fonts is customers stick around, they double their spend within their first year, and it's led to a really nice growth rate for us. The kind of key thing going on here, and this is maybe a bit related to Tim's broader themes, if you look at the history of computing, so you can argue the first serious use of computing was the 1890s census using a Hollerith tabulating machine. It's a machine that you punch into these cards, letters and numbers, and then the system overall kind of can store them and retrieve them and add them up once in a while. And if you look at computation going ahead into the 2000s, I worked at Salesforce.com. It's a very cool company, but really the screens in Salesforce.com are screens where you can type letters and numbers, it'll store them, retrieve them, and add them up once in a while. But it's not doing anything by itself. And if you contrast that now with Watson winning Jeopardy, and now if you've been watching the news, maybe being better than doctors at actually diagnosing diseases. If you look at the Curiosity rover landing itself on Mars without any human piloting, it takes too long for a signal to get back and forth. The thing would be shattered on the surface of Mars by the time a human pilot was able to get a signal over there. And us autonomously delivering ad campaigns using AI and kind of big data systems. There's a real significant change that's happened here. And it's not just kind of us in advertising, but it's something that you're seeing in a lot of white-collar jobs right now. Even I think it was just last week that Golden Gate, you don't have toll takers anymore. There's just machines that kind of watch you going through. Ironically, there used to be there's a few famous quotes from luminaries in AI saying, sure, certain occupations get displaced by technology, like there's no elevator operator anymore. When you go into an elevator, the doors just open and close, and we see that as reasonable, but there's still toll takers, was actually one of the famous quotes, and actually there's not everywhere anymore. So it's interesting to see what this wave of automation will do. The promise is, of course, freeing humans from drudgery and labor. The societal cost to that might be, well, some of those people actually enjoyed drudgery and labor if it meant they could afford to have an apartment and take care of their family. So there's an emerging kind of issue for society and dealing with that. But for us, the cool thing is that in advertising, there's so much that's wasted, so much money that gets spent, throwing ads all over the place. It's annoying to you, it's wasteful to the companies. And if you can take the old human-style buying, which is very kind of blunt and clumsy, and if you can let this AI technology, figure it out on the fly. Like, here's where people are responding to this ad. It's the luxury car ad works well. We found a cluster of actually Indian expatriates, speaking of bringing people over with excellent technology backgrounds. Luxury car ads work really well when you show them to an audience of Indian expatriates. You'd never think about that, but that's just one of the things that kind of pops out when you see this data. And pizzas sell really well at 1 a.m. It's just the way it goes. The stereotype is true. Pizzas sell really well if you advertise them on sites about technology and science. So there's just all this stuff that's so granular that you can discover now. And there's just so many areas like this where you can make the world so much more efficient than it was before. I won't brag a lot about our customers, but it's been fun as we grow. When we were little and we had about 5 customers, there were like 3 of them were well-known brands, and I would always be so proud to be out with my kids and a BMW would pass us and I could say, Daddy's company advertises BMW. Now we advertise almost every car company and most of the top companies and all the verticals that we operate in. And it's been really fun just to kind of grow a business like this out here in Redwood City. I've been through a few IPOs before at Salesforce in a company called Epiphany, and there's really nothing better from the I think, from the venture perspective, you love to fund the entrepreneurs and they're the hero. When you're the entrepreneur, it's really kind of your customers that are the hero, and you really want to make them successful, and there's nothing better than hearing back from them that you've done that. So these are just some little comments from our customers we've gotten over time. My favorite is sort of the least quantitative one that says we're beating the other guys by a bajillion%. I think our computers calculate that to a bit more precision, but we'll take it. So that's Rocket Fuel, and it's really great to be part of the community here and have SAMCEDA helping us understand our relationship with the community, and to be an ear when we have input that we'd like to give. So thanks.
I would ask, before I introduce the next Innovator Award, that all of the award winners at the end, in light of us keeping on schedule, will have you join us over here, because we have the congressional certificates, the Board of Supervisor certificates, our state, Senate, and Assembly, and then we can take pictures over there. So if you would all join us. Now I'm going to bring up our Biotech Healthcare Innovator, and that is Crescendo Bioscience. And we have with us today William Bill Hagstrom, their CEO.
Well, thank you very much for this award. It means a lot to each of us at Crescendo Bioscience. I moved here about 6 or 7 years ago, and one of the reasons I moved here is when we got our Series A funding from War David Al Ventures, they said, this place has an ecosystem like no other place to grow and build companies like you envision. And that has absolutely been the case. Our focus at Crescendo Bioscience is on developing and delivering novel tests to allow physicians to have deeper insight when managing patients with autoimmune diseases. These include diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, ankylosing spondylitis, psoriatic arthritis, and Sjogren's. All of these are chronic, lifelong, debilitating diseases and conditions. Ones where it's very difficult for a physician to accurately assess what's a patient's exact status at a given point in time, what's the right decision to make when moving forward. We seek to deliver more objective, quantitative tools to allow physicians to make better decisions and to use the highly effective biological therapies that are available to autoimmune patients today. We are an innovator. Our first product is called Vectra DA, which stands for Vectoring System for Rheumatoid Arthritis and to assess a patient's level of disease activity. It's the first and only blood-based test to measure and track a patient throughout the entire course of their disease, which is decades. We use 12 biomarkers that look at different mechanisms and pathways involved in the disease and provide a score on a scale of 1 to 100, extremely high resolution. This allows a physician to note better which therapy a patient might benefit from. Are they responding to the therapy, at what dose, and what changes should be made to help more patients achieve remission. Only about 15% of RA patients achieve remission. Cure is not possible. So more objective tools to allow a physician to know where they're at a given point in time is incredibly important. Our product is delivered as a service. A physician takes a blood sample in their office from any place across the country, ships it to our clinical laboratory in South San Francisco via Federal Express. We process rapidly and return a test result back. Currently, over 15% of all rheumatologists in the United States are using Vectra DA, and that number is growing rapidly. In addition to physicians finding it to be highly beneficial, patients find what we're doing to be beneficial as well, and we're innovating on that front as well. A more recent innovation is called MyRA, which is a free digital app for RA patients to be able to track and trend systems and disease characteristics between office visits. This allows for a much more impactful encounter for the physician. When armed also with our Vectra DA, provides a very complete picture. These and other innovations are what separate us from our competitors. The organization is committed to improving patient lives and outcomes. Thank you for this award.
I love these companies. I don't know about all of you, but I'm standing back here saying, this is just so incredibly exciting. I mean, wow. I think we're all going to be well taken care of as we age. So we have our next innovator, and we are moving on to our fastest growing innovator, and that is Bob Sell, the CEO of MyBuys. Bob?
Good afternoon, everybody. Just a couple quick slides. For those of you who don't know MyBuys, we are sort of your personal shopper and you didn't know it. And I'll give you a little bit of background. So I was in Michigan. So I've been in the San Mateo area for 13 years. Preceding this, I was with the Kellogg Company. We are in 99% of your households, your closets, your cupboards, and we didn't know who you were. We didn't know how to talk to you. So we spent a lot of money, as George John showed you, the old-fashioned way. And we spent billions and billions of dollars a year. And I thought there had to be a better way. And so in counting the number of households, there's only roughly 100 million. And if you look at the number of zeros we're counting and everything else, we thought, there might be a better way. And so we had the idea a long time ago to try and figure out how to know each household. So I came to Silicon Valley, San Mateo County specifically, in Burrell Avenue and Campus Drive in 2000 to join a company called Blue Martini Software that was going public. The idea was to try and know everybody and everything and sell software to retailers and brands so that they could empower that, so they could do what George talked about, so everybody could be really smart. As it turned out, retailers and brands were like me at Kellogg. They really weren't excellent at running software and data mining and machine learning and multivariate testing. And so I had the idea around 2006, and George and I were in the same building, 1 Lagoon Drive. And our goal was to try and understand each of you better than anybody else. And so from that, we created a company called MyBuys. With that, what we do is we want to know you. And so for those of you who have been to Amazon, please raise your hand, presumably all of you. Do you know why I know that? Because I can look at their earnings. They are now $80 billion. They grew, I think, $16 billion last year online. That is the equivalent of 2/3 of the Internet Retailer 500 that are not Amazon. So they basically gobbled up 2/3 of the market share of the rest of them in 1 year. That's how fast they're growing. And so we had the idea, which was let's know everything about everybody like Amazon does, but we'll power everybody to give them a shot. And so we power 400 sites and hopefully thousands soon. And our goal is to know the things you like and you don't like. So if we're your personal shopper, we'd make recommendations to you if you were in the store. When I was at Blue Martini, we had Nordstrom and Harrah's casinos and others who were doing clienteling with our software. But now what we do is we do auto learning for our clients so they don't have to learn how to do it themselves. And so our job is to watch what you shop, what you don't like, what you like. And really the goal is to create a more relevant world. Our goal is to do that to get the retailers to give us the data. So they give us all data and all purchases on and offline. We watch every attribute and we try and understand you. Our goal is so that every time you see an ad, a piece of merchandise, or an email, if it's not relevant, you say, damn, they suck. And that's our job, because right now 99% of it is not really tuned for us. If you listen in the radio, if you watch a TV, how much of this, if you really thought, does that matter to me? Every ad, every piece of merchandise should be optimized for the individual so that you can know that what you're getting is relevant to you. And so it's taking a bottoms-up approach to an old tops-down world. That's what we're trying to do. We do it online for retailers, but now what we don't want to do it is we're launching to brands. We want the brands who sell to retailers to have the relevant, where they've got the P&L, have them have the same returns that the retailers do. In essence, it works. Big data is huge. So our response rates, so if you think about a product online, maybe we recommend something this to you, our average return rates are 300% more than the clients for their best algorithms or their merchandisers can do without us, because we remember each of our attributes. It's not good enough to be good. We have to be perfect, because we only have so many impressions and people are only so patient. So with that, what we do is we call it customer-centric marketing. We basically want to have one-to-one dialogues with consumers. We want to coordinate across touch points, and this is really different. Every targeting company you hear about is really focused on a channel. A display, an email, an affiliate, a search, you name it. They're all different sets of data who sell to different people in an organization. My background is around consumer marketing, and what I want to know is the consumer. We want to be the consumer experts and understand how channels play together and not try and optimize marketing within a channel. We want to think about lifestyles, because if you remember a consumer, you have an added advantage. They come back over and over and over to thousands of different sites, and you can use that knowledge so that we're smarter about each one of you. And remember when you buy. And oh yeah, big data. You hear that term a lot. Big data, big data. And so we call ourselves big data personalization for a couple trade shows just to try and go with the trend. But basically, big data is one thing to store it. It's another to crunch it. And there are big companies out there who are doing that. It's another to make it work. And so proving it. So what we do is we put our money where our mouth is. And we say, we'll prove to you it works. We'll do A/B lift tests all the time, and we'll show you that the delta in the revenue we create is all you pass on. And so we prove the effectiveness of marketing by making it real time in action. So far it's working. We have 400 and something retailers, and we're about to launch with our brands. We are about 130 employees. Our headquarters are in San Mateo, and we thank you for this honor. Thank you very much.
So we are moving on to our Green Innovator Award. And with us today, we have Jim Jacoponi, who is the VP of Operations for Propel Fuel, our Green Innovator. Jim?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's a big pleasure and an honor to be here. I lead the operations team at Propel Fuels, and I'm here on behalf of Matt Horton, our CEO. We would have let him come, but until he brings in the next round of funding, we're not letting him do anything else other than go on out in Sand Hill Road and every place else other than raise capital. Propel is one of California's leading alternative fuel marketing companies. We are dedicated to making progress with regard to the way people fuel their vehicles. We were founded on the understanding that America's transportation needs are changing. There are over 20 million vehicles in the country that can take alternatives to petroleum. And we believe that the future of America, our domestic energy security, our domestic economy, our climate and our environment are all going to benefit from, over time, making the change from petroleum-based fuels and vehicles to alternatives. And so we are committed to providing people with choice at the pump. And we're committed to really a future of clean mobility. In order to do this, we are building the state's and the nation's largest network of places where consumers today with vehicles that takes flex fuel, that can take biodiesel, can pull in, go to the pump, and select something other than gasoline or pure diesel. And we think that that is going to be a great opportunity for not only the producers of fuels, where all of the money is being spent making these wonderful new fuels of the future, but also we're connecting consumers who have no place today to actually go and say, I vote for something different, I vote for a better tomorrow. We have 29 locations in the state today. We're targeting 75 by the middle of next year, and we're looking to branch beyond flex fuel and biodiesel into clean burning natural gas, compressed natural gas, and for all of those who are now buying electric vehicles, a place to charge electric vehicles on the fly during the day. And you'll find us here in Redwood City at the corner of Veterans and Whipple, and places all up and down California. We are extremely pleased to have our headquarters here in Redwood City. We are 29 employees and being part of San Mateo County. We've enjoyed great growth. We have over 15,000 customers today that trade with us day in and day out. We're growing very quickly. We're opening location number 38 later this week. And I'd just like to thank SAMCEDA for the recognition, and for all of you who have recognized Propel as Green Innovator. One of the things that we believe in is that sustainability and economic success not only can survive together, but can thrive together. And being recognized today here is proof to us that there are many other people who believe that as well. So on behalf of all the employees at Propel, I'd like to just say thank you for the recognition, and we're very pleased for the honor.
So we are moving on to our software innovator, and that is Salesify. And with us we have Oliver Dang, their Chief Financial Officer. Oliver?
Hello, my name is Oliver Dang, Chief Financial Officer and Chief Product Strategy Officer. Salesify, we've been around for about 7.5 years, primarily doing sales and marketing support services, supporting B2B, mainly helping businesses sell to other businesses. We have about 400 people worldwide in Redwood City, India, and Philippines. Last year, we recently launched a software platform. It's called Tech Leads Online, TLO, and it's the first competitive business intelligence platform. And what that is exactly is it enables you to take a look across the United States, basically who's using your competitors' products. Why that's important is today, the way marketing, B2B marketing works, in general, they take a large list of people and then they chase them down. What we enable people to do is we enable people to take a look and target specific competitors, whether they're your weaker competitors, your peers, or even your stronger competitors. It allows you to target your messaging, to focus on who you're actually speaking with. You know, if you know a person's using a weaker product, your messaging from a sales and marketing perspective is centered around that. So the example that I use is taking a look at the Silicon Valley. There's a large security company here, and you want to target somebody that's weaker than you. Let's say McAfee, given their problems that they have. If the message that they send out, what they would do is they would utilize our platform and download the companies that use McAfee software and take a look at who are the folks within that company that they should speak to. So their audience would be exact. So their messaging would be exact as well. So you can say McAfee has problems with whatever, protecting you from antivirus. Are you more than likely going to open that email? Are you going to respond back to a person talking to you? We have a variety we cover 5,000 different products, and across all different segments, we have a few 100,000 companies within the database so far. We add companies on a monthly basis. Some of the categories, EPM, backup recovery, CRM, are just some of the different categories. So it really does enable you to be much more focused in terms of your sales and marketing processes that you have today. What we focus on primarily is accuracy, ensuring that you have a steady flow of leads that come in of people that utilize a particular product. So customers are signing up with us. They'll have a specific campaign to replace a competitor or look for people that have a particular technology that might work well with yours. So there's a lot of different uses for it. But what we focus on is ensuring that the data is accurate. So we have a very high accuracy guarantee, 95% guarantee that the technology is installed there. We have contacts associated with the company. Our professional services group can further qualify the lead even further. So meaning that it's not just a list of people that have the product. It's not just a bunch of IT people at the company. It's somebody calling in, finding out who's in charge of antivirus at that company. So it's the perfect person to speak to. So your open rate, your conversion rate, everything becomes a lot more efficient. Here's a couple snapshots from the platform itself. Basically, you select whatever products, whatever technology. It could even be for a whole category. If you wanted to take a look at how do my products compare with my peers, across what segments do my products sell well against. So we have a set of analytics that sits on top of the base data. So you can analyze how your products sell, in which segments. Do they do well in the mid-market? Do they do well in the SMB market? There's really nothing else out there that really enables you to say, hey, how is my product doing? You have Gartner, Forrester's that publish reports that say, this is the best product, but it really doesn't tell you what is the best product being used by the mid-market. Who's implementing what solution. The base data, the install base data, we put a set of analytics on top to measure all those components. The main uses, we've categorized them into basically 4 different categories. Product launches. If you're launching a new product, you want to see who your competitors are in that space, what market share that they own. This platform would give you an idea of that information. The competitor replacement, the McAfee example versus the security company, is basically targeting your peers, weaker partners, and whatever else. Market penetration, it's taking a look at particular markets and determining who's using what products and how do I get into that market more efficiently, more effectively. And finally, market development. The product also enables you to take a look, compare your products against your peers within a geography, within company size, and it really does give you the ability to kind of compare the two and say, hey, I want to go after this market, or maybe my product isn't selling well with the mid-market. Maybe we need to change our messaging. So it is centered around having good data, enabling companies to be more effective with their sales and marketing dollars, and then providing value for our customers. That's it. Well, thank you very much.
And our final Innovator Award today, before we present the Bohannon Award of Excellence, is our Technology Innovator. And that is David Hale, the CEO of E2Open. David?
I just want to say a few words to introduce E2Open. I'm actually the CIO, not the CEO. Mark couldn't be here today. Here we go. E2Open provides cloud-based solutions that help our customers procure, sell, manufacture, and distribute their products more efficiently. The way we do this is providing a collaborative execution platform for our customers to engage with their global trading partner networks. We were founded in actually here in Belmont, just across the street from Marvin Gardens, if you know where that is. A funny little building across from the train station. We've now grown a bit. We're headquartered in Foster City. We have over 100 employees locally, and over 350 employees globally in a number of different offices. And just last year, we went public on the NASDAQ in July of 2012. Very simply put, we help our customers solve very complicated supply chain problems. So if you think about the way companies used to manage their supply chain, it was all vertically integrated. And what's happened over the last 20 or 30 years is companies have outsourced everything. So if you buy a computer from Dell, generally it's not manufactured by Dell, it's not distributed by Dell. And so what we help our customers do is we provide a network, a platform that allows them to engage and manage problems of inventory, order, and forecast collaboration with their suppliers, and then also distribution management with their distribution networks, and even have better visibility to logistics. Industries we serve are both very complex supply chains and then also very complex demand chains. Just to give a couple examples, so for Boeing, our software is used to manage the supply chain for the 787. It's actually not very different from a computer. So they assemble the tail fin assembly in Japan. They do the fuselage in Kansas. They do the electronics in Europe. They bring it all together in Everett, Washington, and just like a computer, they do the final assembly here in the United States. Also, technology-oriented value chains such as Dell, IBM, and Cisco use our software to manage both their supply chain and their distribution networks. And then even cosmetic companies have a lot of products that are manufactured and distributed in different parts of the world, and they use our software to help get better visibility and manage those supply chains. And so I think that's it. So thank you very much, SAMCEDA, for presenting us with this award. Yeah, thank you.
I think it's important that we give our innovators another round of applause. I think they very adequately fit the quote, again from Thomas Friedman, average is officially over. If all you ever do is all you've ever done, you will no longer get all you ever got. You will get less. When you think about that, these companies have done so much more than average. They have their extra. They found it. And they make their home in San Mateo County, and we should be so proud. So thank you. Now it is my great pleasure to make the transition here at SAMCEDA's Awards of Excellence. And I'm going to invite Scott Bohannon up, who will give our annual Bohannon Award of Excellence. This is the beauty of marrying the past and the respect and the honoring of what happened before all of us to the future and what we saw in our innovative companies today. Scott is going to come up and introduce, on behalf of his family, who began this award in 1995, 18 years ago, to honor the person in the community that marries business excellence and community involvement. Please welcome Scott Bohannon.
Good afternoon. Thank you. It's always an honor to give this award away, since it's named after my granddad, David D. Bohannon, the founder of SAMCEDA and also a past president. He, much like this year's recipient, Barry Jolette, has used success as a means and a platform to give back to the community. Started looking at Barry's resume here, and he started in the credit union business in 1965 as an examiner with the National Credit Union Administration. He ended his 19-year career with NCUA in late 1984 and served his final 4 years in the Western region. Suffice to say, and then let's see, the full service credit union was over 74,000 members and assets of $714 million. I went through this and realized there are so many accolades and awards through the credit unions that it was going to be hard to get through them all today. I could, but I think suffice to say that if there were a credit union Hall of Fame, Barry would be the first inductee. I don't know, does one exist? I'm not sure. When I got through looking at this, I decided probably it would be good to go to what seems to have really been his hallmark, and that's been the community side. And so when I look at this, I see that one of his proudest achievements of the San Mateo Credit Union is their community involvement, where the credit union has been recognized by the Sequoia Awards as an outstanding business in our community. Other recognition under his leadership includes Rotary Club's Outstanding Employer Award in 2000, the Redwood City San Mateo County Chamber of Commerce Golden Apple Award in 2001. As a longtime member of Rotary, in 2000, Barry was the recipient of the Peninsula Sunrise Rotary Unsung Hero Award and the Silent Rotarian Award in 2005. In January 2011, Barry was recognized by the Redwood City San Mateo County Chamber of Commerce as Person of the Year. And most recently, the San Mateo Area Chamber of Commerce Community Award. Barry? Is Barry here?
Sure. Scott.
There you go.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you very much, Scott. Just a few words. Gosh, you missed the part in the resume where I was reminded when I was watching the pledge that we all gave. There's a line about 8 lines in. It says, I failed, I failed. Well, the first time I interviewed with San Mateo Credit Union, I got a silver medal. They said, have a good life and see you around. Fortunately, 3 years later, they said, we got a gold medal for you. Come on back. That was 26 years ago. So y'all know that none of us does anything, accomplishes anything without the support of a lot of people. So let me start with our board. They have supported us over the years. They've been great. They've let us do different things in serving our members, serving our community. Just 2 examples. And by the way, they get a lot of pay. They're highly paid. Donna Valancourt is here from our board today. She gets her pay today. She's got a free lunch. They're all volunteer board members. They don't get paid anything. So several years ago, we had the opportunity to open a branch in North Fair Oaks. There aren't any financial institutions in North Fair Oaks. We went to our board and said, we'd like to open a branch there. We have an opportunity to do so. We're not sure if it'll break even, much less make a profit. They said, well, it's the right thing to do, open the branch. So we did. Today that branch is in fact successful. It's serving the people of that community, and it is profitable. A little less than 2 years ago, we went to them again and said, you know what? The only financial institution in East Palo Alto just bailed. We'd like to open a branch there. We think we can make it go, we're not sure. They said, well, it's the right thing to do, open that branch. And we did. It's going to be profitable. Well, it's going to break even this year, probably profitable by the end of the year. That's less than 2 years. Typically, it takes 2 to 5 years. So our board has been tremendously supportive of our efforts in the community and in serving our members. The second thank you, we got 2 tables of them over here, staff. No organization does anything without good staff. I'm very proud of our staff. They work every day to serve our members. They work every day out in the community. Several of them are now following the lead of our own board, and they're acting on nonprofit boards out in the community. Again, for no pay, they're making a difference out there in the community. The last one's a little tougher. In 82 days, June 22nd. God, I knew I couldn't do this. I could say she supported me, but I think she's put up with me more than she's supported me. In another 82 days, my wife Carol will have put up with me for 50 years. God, what a burden. I think I'll give her the award. She deserves it a whole lot more than I do. Thank you, Bohannon. Thank you, SAMCEDA. Thank you very much. Great honor.
Well deserved, and congratulations, Barry. How about another round of applause for all of our award winners this afternoon? And just a couple more minutes, a few more thank yous. Randy Smith, one of our directors of Oracle. Randy, are you here? You are here. Thank you so much for the use of this facility. Done a great job. And now is the time to take out those smartphones and get a couple dates into them here. We have some upcoming events. Our 61st annual meeting is coming up on June 3rd. And this meeting focuses on businesses and innovation, entrepreneurship. That meeting focuses on the foundation and the underpinnings of what goes on here in the county. We learn about trends. We learn about the economics of the county so you can make smart decisions about the future. So that's usually our focus at that meeting, so don't miss that. And then, of course, Roseanne promises a hot day and cold beer and lots of fun and a networking opportunity on the August 26th for our main fundraiser of the year, our golf tournament. Always a good day out at Peninsula Golf and Country Club. So one final round of applause and thank you, and that is for SAMCEDA and her 1.5 staff members, Christine and Diana. Let's give them a round of applause for this event. Thank you for your patience. I know we've run over just a little bit, but we were so pleased to have you here today, and look forward to seeing you at future events. Also, if I could have some of the award winners, all the award winners, please come on over here to the corner. We'll do some photos and pictures and make sure you get all your recognition. Thank you for everyone.